Thank you for the moral support.
Yeah, thanks for the Amy Rao brought them in, and you guys know Amy Rao from the Plus.
We sure do.
And we're talking this morning about 50Forward and Viva La Diva, the big event they have coming up this weekend. There's always fun runs during the weekend. Okay, you guys are competing with other ones, you know.
Yes, there are always. The race calendars fill up quickly.
Yeah, especially, I'll tell you this, you're going to have good weather this week. I mean, can you believe that? Today, Leland's saying we're going to probably hit a record set never before in November.
It's crazy.
And global warming's not happening, right? Idiots, if you don't think it's happening. All right. Gretchen Funk is not here yet. She may join us.
She's working her way through the
traffic.
Nashville labyrinth.
But that's right. If she makes it, great. If not, I know she's coming in from 40, and there's a lot of traffic on the way in. But Susan Sizemore is with us, 50Forward Communications Director, and Anne-Claire Hoffman, Viva La Diva Race Director. I'm just curious, so there are seniors that are competing in this race as well as, and like you have the Girl Scouts, you said. I just think the interaction's kind of neat. And you talk about trying to get young people to pay more attention, or that's what I always think about. Is just that how much knowledge is there among seniors when I've been at senior centers or nursing homes or whatever. You just, if they're still lucid and they're sitting there, and these intelligent people with a lifetime of experience, and yet they're ignored. It really is. And you can try to get these Girl Scouts to get to it, but think about when you were that young. Sorry, I didn't want to hang out with a bunch of old people.
Right.
I just didn't. But I wish there was some way to change that.
I agree. I think in a lot of ways, we've had some people, there's a 90, I think she's 95-year-old member out at the Bellevue Center. We are a partner with the Bellevue Family Y. And during the crowdfunding campaign that I referenced earlier, I was talking to Gloria out there, and I hope you're watching, Gloria, because
Good.
I just love you.
That'd be great.
But one of the things she told me is, she said, you know, I started a business when I was in my 60s. She said, there are so many things that I could tell people and share. And she said, and you know, nobody cares. Nobody cares about us. And that's the part that I feel like we not only want to provide the value, but we want to tell the stories of these older adults.
Well, here's the thing, we're all going to get old. And now the idea that nobody cares, that's what frustrates. I certainly care. But sometimes I wonder if people don't recognize how they can tap into that resource. I mean, I care, or when I was younger, certainly I care. I think, you know, I care about these people, but do you take the time to, and how to get that information from them and then practically use it? And it's the generational differences. So many sometimes like reminiscing, okay? Well, you're a young person, you don't want to reminisce, all right? They talk about the great old times. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear about it right now. And I don't know how many seniors play video games. If you're not playing video games, my son, yeah, he ignores me, you know?
Right.
That's the trick, is trying to get them, but I think that's been an ages-old problem, and I just don't know how you change it and get younger people more involved with seniors. Seniors can get out and volunteer and offer, and they have so much to offer.
Let me tell you about an initiative that we've been doing probably for the last 2.5 years. One of our center directors, when I had first started with the agency, casually mentioned to me that she had read a slogan, and it was, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And I said, I love that. And so we branded it as 50Forward Firsts.
Okay, yeah.
And what we're doing is trying to get older adults, be they our members, people in the community, to do something for the first time.
And that's great, and it's so hard. Now, I wonder if I'm going to get this way as I age. I mean, do you get, when I say more conservative, I don't mean politically, but I just mean you're less open to change as you get older because you're a little more set in your ways. Maybe you're a little more cautious because you're not as physically, you know, fit as you once were. Getting them to try something new.
So we kind of call it the antithesis to the bucket list, because you can always do a first every day. So to put this in perspective, my sister and I were in Florida together, and somebody brought out a paddleboard. My sister is in her early 70s. She said, I want to do that. I said, are you sure? And so she got out there and rocked that paddleboard, and we have photos of Joan. I don't doubt that she's watching, but yeah. So
on one of the lagoons in the back there, was it, or was she wasn't dealing with waves and rough water, right?
No, she was in
but still,
like,
that's a big deal. The balance required for that. I mean, she got up there and did it.
She did it. And so
that's awesome.
On the member level, we've had centers who have gone zip lining. They've done pace car rides. They've done, they've eaten mussels and food that perhaps...
Have you ever tried skydiving?
Yeah, they haven't done skydiving yet.
Well,
You
no,
wanna
I'm just
do it?
saying, you guys have. That's one thing I won't do. Jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. It's not my cup of tea. I think I'd be too scared to pay for that. If I had to do it for a job or something, I'd jump. But I'm not
Right.
going to pay for that thrill because I think it would scare me. But you always see some senior that skydived. It's something they always wanted to do. We do stories sometimes when that happens. But yeah, foods, travel. Just being willing to get on the plane and go someplace. It can be daunting.
I think part of it too is that the members have such a sense of community and a friendship together, so it's more comforting for them to know, okay, well, I'm going to do something new I never would have done on my own, but here I am with all my friends.
So they're going and doing it as a group sometimes, maybe.
Yes.
That makes sense. And so they get to know each other at these centers pretty much. It's not necessarily that groups are coming in together. It's individuals that come into the centers and then they just network.
Sure, and one of our centers, I was working on a document the other day, we've got 27 different zip codes represented at one center. So
All from Davidson County? Okay.
And so you think about that group that probably never would have had a chance to meet before in life, but they formed some really interesting relationships and community later in life. And, you know, even talking about travel, our Donaldson Center took a group for their 50-forward first canoeing. And so we've had people kayak as well, but the canoers, some of them had never been in a boat, they'd never been on water. It was quite an adventure.
Yeah.
And I'm not
That's
so
awesome.
sure that they're going to do a whole lot more of those, but I mean, you know, you kind of have to carpe diem, and even down to when the Sigenthaler Bridge was named after John Sigenthaler, you know, longtime community, revered community player. John was, and so when they named the bridge, a number of our folks at the Knoll Center by the fairgrounds where we are, they said, we want to go walk that bridge in honor of John. And so they all went down there and walked and then took a photo, but just really a neat thing.
No, I think that's awesome. And that was something new, and they went out and got to see part of the city and get out. It really is just getting them to, anyone who's more set at being at home, to get out and about. I think what I like about that is that maybe when you're home alone, if you're widowed or even if it's a couple, you can get stayed and just think, oh, but I don't want to do that. And if you just go, and at a center like this where it's totally geared for what, you know, helping doing that, it just opens up these avenues you didn't think about. That's why I hope people watching now listen and think, well, you know what do I have to lose? By the way, there's different demographic, income levels, ethnicity, everything is pretty much run the gamut.
Absolutely. And in fact, thinking of, do you want to talk a little bit about Richard Parker? I think Richard's story as a volunteer is just so heartwarming.
Yeah, if you've got an example,
Sure.
I'd love to hear that. Sure.
So Richard Parker is one of our foster grandparent volunteers, and he is an amazing man, and he, after retirement, was really looking for something else to do with his life, and so he joined the foster grandparent volunteer program, and he goes into schools that we partner with across Davidson County, and he has begun forming these relationships with the children that goes much beyond what any other volunteer would do. He started to teach them life skills, how to tie a tie,
that's
manners
cool.
and
See,
courtesy stuff.
Yeah, those are things that, you know, I mean, I wonder if you can teach a full Windsor. I don't even know how to tie
I bet
that,
he
but a
could.
half Windsor. So teaching how to tie a tie, just basic stuff but still, that stuff even young people need to know.
And it's a lot of children who, you know, may not have the family figures, the father figures, and he's just stepped in there and is teaching them how to be a man. It's really beautiful to watch.
And he loves it, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves it.
Richard, he also teaches them to open doors. A number of us, I think, we not only meeting Richard, but
courteous and
seeing the impact he's had on these kids. He'd be a great guest at some point.
I was going to say, you could have brought him along, but guess what?
Hey, traffic.
She's here.
We'll take a break. We've got one more segment, and so we're going to cut this one short, and we'll bring her up. We'll take a few more phone calls, and we'll be joined by the Director of Senior Services, right?
Yes.
With 50 Forward. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
Supportive care service.